Hey, this is Pat Ricard, aka Project Pat, and you're listening to the Baltimore Beatdown Podcast, the best Ravens podcast on the planet.
It's pretty incredible. In fact, it's la-marvelous.
Thank you, guys.
All right, welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown Podcast. It is Friday, March 5th. It's March. It's March Madness. We're balling like March Madness. My name is Jake Luke. I am joined to my right by Spencer Nathaniel Schultz. How's it going?
Doing outstanding. March Madness by Future, one of Future's best songs by far. That's my Mount Rushmore of Future songs, I think. We're excited to be here. It's been 55 and sunny in good old Maryland the last couple of days. A little bit of wind kicking today. We just got our episode of the Beatdown Big Board kicked off with the edge rushers. So Jake and I have been looking at those pass rushers. Free agency a couple weeks out. It is fun and fast times at Beatdown High.
You got to think that, and I don't know, like, if this is something that he did intentionally, but you got to think he just rakes money every single year on that song, too.
100,000%.
It's the first thing I think of every time March comes over. Well, I think of the tournament, A, and then I think of the song, B.
Yep.
But yeah, as you mentioned there, we are in the studio recording this in person, which I think is going to be the plan moving forward for the offseason, as I hinted earlier on Twitter. Going to be recording once a week, but you're going to have 2 episodes a week by virtue of the fact that we are starting off a new draft series called Beatdown Big Board, where we take a look position by position at the draft. We started off our very first one, which, like I said, in the episode, which you'll be hearing, a little spoiler, that you just love to edge. So you wanted to start out with the edge rusher spot. So that is where we started out. I think it was a really fun one, about an hour and 20 minutes of audio content coming your way on Tuesday as far as that. And it's going to be very fun, very interactive. We're very excited about it.
Very, very, very excited. Very excited. La, la, la. Yaxamad.
He does, yeah. I never saw it. I've not seen either of those all the way through.
All the way through. I thought you were about to say. You said either. I've not seen. And I
So
thought you were
the
gonna
first
say the second one, and I was like,
The first one, I'm a little bit younger than you. I'm like 2 years younger than you. So that came out in, what, 2006?
that came out when I was in middle school, and that was perfect humor for me being in like 7th grade.
I want to say I was like 11 years old when that was just coming out. And like I had a friend that was super into it, a couple friends actually. And I remember it being on at a sleepover and like trying to stay up and watch it, but I was always kind of
You're the nerd who passed out first.
Yeah, it was
to quote Danny McBride in Pineapple Express.
Yeah, it was. That's another good one. I actually saw that all the way through for the first time recently.
Wow. The first time I saw that was in theaters. I want to say 13 years old, and we didn't know it was rated R. My friends and I. Shout out to Clay who listens. I think it was also Eddie Poe who does not listen, and I can't recall the 4th friend. But my mom was not a big drive. Like, she wasn't big on driving me places. Like, I was the youngest by 9, 11, and 13 years. She had done all the driving already with them. She's a little older. My friends usually knew if you want to hang out with Spencer, middle school, high school, before I had my car, like, you're probably going to have to at least drive him home, if not pick him up and drive him home. So shout out to all the parents back in the day who did that. But anyway, one of the few occasions my mom was willing to drive me and my friends was to the Westminster Mall so that we could go see Pineapple Express. Her plan was accompanied by that because she was like, oh, I'm going to go to Marshall's. I'm going to go shopping. While you do that, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Basically, the only reason she took us was because she planned on going shopping. So we get dropped off at the movie theater. She's heading on over to Marshall's. I end up having to call her. The attendant would not let us in to the movie as we were underage. So I had to call her and be like, Mom, So she was not happy, not a happy camper. She comes to watch the movie with us. She was like, I'll just watch it with you guys, whatever. She doesn't know who Seth Rogen is, doesn't know anything.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Schultz, here, welcome to my movie. I'm Seth Rogen. Oh, yeah. That's my Seth.
Yes, so my mom, she was a little bit of a hippy-dippy back in the 70s. I think she was like 2 years too young to go to Woodstock, but my Aunt Susie went to Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Woodstocks. And so my mom comes, and she has a very loud laugh. I have a loud laugh. I get it from her. She was howling at Pineapple Express in the movie theater. Hardest, maybe top 5 hardest I've ever seen her laugh was Pineapple Express. She had tears coming out. She had snot, crying, laughing, hysterical movie. Love it. It was hilarious. My friends thought it was even funnier that my mom thought it was funny than they thought the movie was funny. So that was a memorable experience. Shout out James Franco, Seth Rogen, and Danny McBee for doing their thing.
It's a really good movie, just kind of a mid-tier comedy, which I really like about it. I wish we had more of those right now that weren't just going to streaming. But first experience with that was there was a sneak preview of it on the Superbad DVD, which that was one that I was in on because my brother was super in on Superbad, so I watched the DVD of that. And there's a Pineapple Express sneak preview that I remember watching. It's the part where they're smoking like the cross joint. Yeah, so that was a little, maybe a little informative for somebody of my young age at the time, but I think it was instructive. I'll say that
for sure. And it makes weed into this like very violent crime drug too, which is the even funniest part about it.
Shout out
favorite GIF on Twitter. One of my favorite GIFs on Twitter is James Franco and Seth Rogen peeking around the tree, going like making the gesture to smoke a joint, and with a thumbs up. And Seth Rogen's eyes get all big, which doesn't always happen. Fun fact also, one of my buddies that was in my fraternity, his girlfriend is Seth Rogen's personal assistant.
How did that happen?
I do not know. Her name is Ellie Mamula. Shout out to Evan Francis, my good buddy, who went to Sherwood High School down in Montgomery County, went to Towson. He lives out in, I think, either Venice or Long Beach now, and she is Seth Rogen's personal assistant.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's very cool.
And all our friends are always like, hey, Evan, can you get Allie to do this to Seth? And he's like, haha, yeah, definitely not. I can't do that ever. No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Seth Rogen did just launch, what was it, some sort of weed venture that he's doing?
I'm sure. He's a big vase guy, or a big pottery guy right now. He's been making a lot of bowls and stuff.
I'm just going to get very sensual making this pottery. Seth Rogen. I like Seth Rogen. Really good as Steve Wozniak in the Jobs movie, too. But yeah, we are just officially off the rails. I think that probably is a function of the fact that we just spent an hour and 20 minutes talking nuts and bolts football. So ready to get a little weird with this episode. But as far as life goes, how you doing, bud?
Doing well, dog. It's warming up outside. Wish I would have gone skiing one more time at least, but maybe we'll get a little bit more snow. I couldn't last time. I was busy for some reason. Been bopping around, getting into the depths of good old draft season and having a grand old time. So here we are.
Interesting. I've got people saying the volume is low in the comments here. Let me pull this up. I will probably be cutting this out on the podcast. So let's make a note for that as I hop to our channel.
Is that 8 minute mark? 8 when that happens. Okay.
Let's see. That is a little low. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Okay, that's interesting.
What have I been watching? I've been rewatching Sopranos. I think I'm through about 4 seasons.
How's that guys, I should say.
It's been going pretty. I don't think I actually ever finished Sopranos the first time.
I was talking to the audience. Already the volume, which I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, that sounds loud.
Yeah, there we go. I had the wrong input. My bad, everyone. Are you good to just restart?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown podcast. I mean, you can pretty much see all of what just happened here. If you are watching on the YouTube live feed, we had a little bit of an audio snafu. My name is Jake Luke, joined by Spencer Schultz. We are officially 8-9 minutes into a live stream recording here, but looks like the audio situation has been figured out. Not really sure what exactly was going on with that. It looks like I had the input messed up, but as far as anyone listening on the podcast, we are coming to you guys on a Friday here. Friday, March 5th. We are balling like March Madness, as I said in that intro.
Dress it up and go to Nassau.
We're just like hitting all the references here. I'm really enjoying it.
Spend a day to get a mind blown.
It's been a very good Thursday night here as we did just wrap up the first episode in a new series that is going to be debuting for the draft called the Beatdown Big Boards, our Edge Rusher series, which is going to be releasing on Tuesday, I believe. So that's going to be the first episode in that. It's going to be interactive, going to be putting Twitter polls and stuff out that is going to be leading to, shout out to March Madness, a little bit of a bracket situation with Ravens draft prospects. So it's going to be a ton of fun, man. I'm excited, and I know you are as well.
Very, very excited. We already did that for everyone, but yeah, it's going to be fun. It's interactive. It's going to be interactive throughout. Going to ask our listeners to be voting. Jake and I basically are going to compile a top 4, and those are going to hit Instagram and Twitter. Then our listeners go vote on them. That will put 2, I think. We might do 1 or 2 from each position into a tournament. And the week leading up to the draft, we're going to pit all of those top prospects that our listeners decide on against each other in a tournament, round robin, or not a round robin, just a straight bracket style. And then you guys will vote. Jake and I will also each fill out the bracket ourselves. So that way we'll have a listener's bracket, a Jake bracket, and a Spencer bracket, which we will ultimately vote on again with our listeners to determine the best options for the Ravens at those positions. You might incorporate some later rounds into it later. That just kicked off. I think it went pretty well. So we're excited for that one to come out on Tuesday. We will be asking our voters, not this upcoming Monday, but the following Monday, to vote on each position. So you're going to be voting on the edges, not this Monday, but the following Monday. Every single week, you'll be voting on the previous week's position leading into the next episode. So that way we'll have the results and we'll be able to announce those and get this bad boy started. So we're very excited about that. You can use those episodes to get started on positions. You can use those episodes as cross checks for yourself, see some things that you might have thought. We obviously have our purple lenses on just a little bit, so we're going to be tilting it towards the Ravens just a bit. But yeah, I'm excited for that. It was a lot of fun. And then we'll be hitting mailbags. And as you know, free agency happens and breaking news happens, we'll be pumping out other episodes as well. But I think we're going to be doing the Friday, Tuesday format leading up to the draft for the most part.
Yeah. So for anyone that is just tuning in now or whatever it might be, onto the live stream, we was explaining it a little bit earlier. I'm all mixed up now, but basically we're switching to a format where we are recording once a week on Thursday nights for the most part, but you're still going to be getting 2 episodes a week where we do sort of
2 episodes minimum.
Yeah, exactly. So we're still going to be doing interviews and everything and breaking news when and if that is going to be something that we're going to need to do. Obviously, it's going to be a need with free agency and maybe with some of these draft news bits that are going to be coming out, because who knows what's going to happen with all that. It is always a certified silly season around this time of year, but
Silly season.
It's going to be fun, man. I'm very excited.
Very, very excited. A lot of cuts starting to happen. I saw Zeitler and Andrew Norwell. Jason Lockham-Foro was saying that the Jags.
Yeah, well, he's talking about it. Andrew Norwell. The Jaguars going to move on from it with my kids, and we got another dog. Kevin Zeitler, Jonathan Scope didn't. Okay, I'm just doing RDT's one now, so I apologize for that. But
love it. So JLC getting some truth bombs out late Thursday night, and looks like those guys are going to be cut if not traded. So options. What more can you ask? Fun stuff. We're almost towards the end of dead season. We're getting to the final week, basically, of the franchise tag period. And we'll be seeing some guys, possibly, Godwin, Barrett, Levante David, all in the Bucks. And also maybe I saw Corey Davis not supposed to be franchise tagged, supposed to hit the free market, the open market, pardon me. And,
you crushed that.
Crushing it. And also Kenny Galladay is up in the air. As of now, the Lions did sign Tyrell Williams, which is, I don't know. How much more? I guess Marvin Jones is more expensive than, I don't know, but a little bit of a weird move, but maybe both those guys hit the market. If not, at least Marvin Jones will. It looks to be. So not a ton going on. Russell Wilson being pissy, apparently, which is so sick. And
that's the best. The Russell Wilson thing. I love it. Like, at what point did he stop being just a total goober and all of a sudden he's like this surly Aaron Rodgers type where all of a sudden it's like not?
He spends $1 million a year on his body, bro.
So do I.
Exactly. I just stopped at Wendy's, ate 2 full-size sandwiches before I came to the old Baltimore Beatdown studio here.
Which is, like you said, you were going to do McDonald's. I will say I was pleased when I heard you audible to Wendy's.
Yeah. We've talked about this. You like Wendy's.
Yeah, I love Wendy's. It's one of the best like lower tier fast food options, I think. Agreed.
I offered you Wendy's. I would have gotten Mickey D's. I feel like Mickey D's is a more easy to say your order.
Are we in the trust tree right now?
Yeah.
I had McDonald's twice in a row last week.
You also had it on Valentine's Day.
I did. Yeah. Listen, it's been a McDonald's heavy month. I'm probably going to go off it for the next couple of months. So it's probably a good thing that I did avoid that. But I don't know.
I have my times. I'll go like a solid 4 months, and then I will cave and I'll eat 3 Big Macs in 5 weeks.
I forget. It was like on Sunday, I think I was getting a Nintendo Switch, but I've been getting fucking deep into that Legend of Zelda game that I just never played from a couple of years ago, which is absolutely incredible. So I just like woke up and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to get a Nintendo Switch today. This past Sunday, I think. So I did that. And like, I had probably, an hour or so to kill. And I basically went from Owings Mills down to Catonsville, and there was just a Mickey D's there. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have the 2 cheeseburger meal right now, which they changed to number 7. It was number 9.
It's addicting, man. If you think McDonald's and you're near one, you start tasting it, like whatever sort of little mental warfare they wage and the chemicals of their food. Like if I think Big Mac and I see a McDonald's, I am going to have to fight really hard not to get one.
I'm also like the Pulp Fiction monologue always gets me. It just makes me want to get that quarter pounder with cheese.
Shout out to when the franchise and I went to DC for Valentine's Day, and we had like we ate at like an outdoor roast place that
looked awesome. I saw that picture you posted.
Oh, right. And it was, so we ate there, and we did like appetizers and like a marshmallow thing, and we didn't really eat like a ton. So we were like, oh, we'll just Uber Eats food back. And we looked at one of the McDonald's, and it was $14.79 for a Big Mac combo from McDonald's there. So I was like, I am not like, if I'm paying $15, I'd rather have like an entire pizza, something like get like an and pizza, something like that. I looked at the other McDonald's, which was 5 minutes away, and the Big Mac combo was $8.79, $6 difference. So I don't like the math just doesn't work there. You can order both of them. One of them's 5 minutes further, so they're charging $1 a minute basically at that rate. Get it together, DC McDonald's.
Honestly, like the DC upcharge on a lot of stuff is, understandable. I think McDonald's I would not have expected.
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
It's okay though. I mean, good for them. Good for them balling out. I guess McDonald's is no, I was thinking of the who started Walmart?
Walden.
I don't know where I'm going with
Walden
this, but
family?
I was thinking the McDonald's family is doing just fine.
Yeah.
Who could say? So we are in here what is this? Masawu I wanted to address. He says, question, can you focus on the picture right between you two? There's a couple that I think.
Frank
Sabaka is one of them. Bill O'Reilly in there. We'll do it live. Fuck it. And George Costanza on the timeless art of seduction, which I actually got on the boardwalk down the ocean.
God, Frank Sabaka.
Rest in peace.
Polish bastard.
Shit, I guess spoilers there for season 2 of The Wire, but if you haven't seen it, go
Fuck
watch
you.
it. Yeah, come on. But we are in here after having just crushed that Edge episode, which was a ton of fun. And like I said, we're going to be stacking episodes with the mailbag sort of serving as that second hour. So here we are, ready to get into the mailbag. At least I'm ready. How about you, bud?
Let's do it. We'll start with the old IG first up. And let me pull that bad boy up. 95 JD. Thoughts on Marvin Jones? Can the Ravens get him? Yeah, they can get anyone. They can get anyone. They can do anything. Thoughts on Marvin Jones? I have not really ever hunkered down and been like, I'm going to go look at Marvin Jones run routes and see what happens. I searched his name on Twitter and went to the video section just to see what floats around. Seems like he's just a really trustworthy boundary kind of red zone jump ball guy. Some running guys over a good bit, and he has insane ball skills. I looked up, basic box score stuff. He is 6th in the NFL over the last 2 years in touchdowns, I believe, with 18. And I want to say he's 7th with 27 and 34 touchdowns over the last 4 years. So quietly a touchdown maker. Obviously,
he had that 1 touchdown game, and what was that, like 2013?
I feel like he has like a 2 or 3 at least every year. Like
he's a red zone threat, man.
Big time red zone threat, which it feels like they want that jump ball guy. The Ravens want that jump ball guy on the outside. He would be a veteran in a room full of younger receivers still, while those guys did get a little seasoning on their belt. But yeah, I would be perfectly happy if you pair one of the best offensive line options with Marvin Jones. I think that is a big time boost to the Ravens offense overall. Again, I might be speaking out of my ass a little. I am speaking out of my ass a little bit because I have not hunkered down and watched Marvin Jones. I do remember him on the Bengals being a shredster early in his career. Now I think he's right around 31, And he's had over 100 targets quite a few times in his career quietly. I mean, he's been a solid fantasy option, if that counts for anything. But I think he's like Seth Roberts if Seth Roberts was really good. Like, that's how I feel about the move.
Seth Roberts if Seth Roberts was really good.
Like, if he was just like a little more athletic and a little bit more of a contested catch guy, like I feel like he's that nice, steady veteran presence that, you know, is going to work with Lamar to find open spaces and run the right route and be in the right place a lot of the time.
You have been very much on the train that it is now written in stone that they are going to sign him.
I think it is an inevitable move. It is a classic Ravens move. It would, you know, I think that Marvin Jones has a much lower profile than a guy like Michael Crabtree. I think that Michael Crabtree also caught a lot of shit in Baltimore when he really was pretty decent.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was a pretty decent option, but he was the only guy. There was no Hollywood alongside. Well, I guess he had John Brown.
John Brown was good that year too.
Yeah, John Brown was all right. But, you know, I think it's kind of like that kind of move a little bit, but Marvin Jones has been racking up touchdowns and playing out of his mind.
Crabtree was at the end of his career. I feel like Marvin has like at least another like contract length still in him.
Yes, and then maybe one more year after that.
He's 31, you said?
Let's see. He's right about to turn 31, so he'll play this season at 31 years
Do they
old.
really not have his age right there?
Yeah, they do. 30.9 next to date of birth.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep. So what, make you do all that math? Yeah,
these analytics, man, it's too much for me
analytics, birth dates, like what is this? The football industry's gone
It
insane.
reminds me of the Hard Knocks season when the Browns were like flirting with signing Dez and like fucking Dorsey's in there, the cowboy talking to the analytics guy, and he's like, yeah, well, he's 31 years old, and the analytics guy's 31.8, and he's like, he just looks at him like, what the fuck?
I don't recall that exact moment, but that is unbelievable.
I don't know why it sticks
That
with
is
me. It's just like
unbelievable.
meathead Dorsey talking to like the little analytics kid, and this is like a couple years ago. Even then, analytics wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now. I just always thought that was a funny moment.
But yeah, Marvin Jones, that's a solid B signing. That is like gives you someone who is probably going to be have their head on straight ahead of Miles Boykin, take a little bit of pressure off of Miles Boykin to really find his niche and be put in the right place to succeed, be in formations, alignments, and play concepts that accentuate him and continue to ramp up and build, as he's a guy who was a chicken with his head cut off at one point this season. And, maybe with a little bit of extra pressure or competition, it forces Miles Boykin to step up even more. Again, I mean, Jake and I couldn't have been more bullish on Miles Boykin last year. We thought he was going to be a, confident 60 catch, 800 yard, 7-8 touchdown red zone threat kind of guy.
Honestly,
could still be, sure, but I'm not, that's my whole thing. Like I've said, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm not banking on improvement. I'm not banking on potential.
No, I feel like he is what he is at this point, but like if you just give, him a little bit more cushion as far as talent around him, then
I'm just saying for the entire Ravens offseason, I don't care about potential. I'm not expecting improvement from anyone. I want competition and I want veterans inserted into this team. And
potential, to me, is also something that you talk about when you're talking about like a rebuild or like building up. Like if you want a playoff game,
giving Auden Tate a shitload of snaps for the Bengals 2 years ago to see what he can do.
You talk about getting rid of the progress stoppers, like I've talked about with Bill Parcells, who used to say that kind of thing. It's like it's kind of time to get rid of the progress stoppers and the projects. It's time to like get a guy in here who can be a professional and move the chains.
And I think Marvin Jones is a professional who moves the chains. So would be a good signing, and that's the long and short of it. Somewhere between smitten and content with a Marvin Jones signing, whatever the perfect medium is of that.
Which is, I think, what you want, because all the people freaking out about like Allen Robinson, like he's never going to meet those expectations, even if they were to sign him.
You can't if you sign a free agent receiver for $20 million a year right now, you're not going to get value out of them. They are never going to exceed their value.
There's a bubble.
There is. And I think that is the thing. You can get Marvin Jones for half the 80-20 rule. In this case, I think it's the 80-50 rule, about half the price, 80% of the production, and the ability there. He gives that middle of the field threat. He gives that red zone threat, that reliable kind of guy you can chuck the ball up to, and bad things are not going to happen if you put it on target. So those are our thoughts on Marvin Jones, 95 JD. Moving on, Joe Book and Ninja JC, one of our boys. This is a good question. I'm going to try and read this one slowly. I'll read it twice. So I want to hear your answers, Jake. Joe Book and Ninja JC, top 3 game watch spots outside of M&T Bank Stadium. He said the bank. So again, that's the top 3 spots to watch a game that are not at M&T Bank Stadium.
I'm up and this maybe I'm just missing it even more so after this past year, but Purple Patio is always a fucking riot, especially if you can go, and this is at Mother's for away games, if you can, or for home games, if you can get there, just like in a kind of a washout like week 6 Bengals game, which I think might have been the most recent one that I went to in 2019. That is just like such a good ass time. Like any Mother's kind of thing that they throw, that's always good. So Mother's is a good spot. Any kind of strip outside of that, Fed Hill, I would put like tier 2 kind of in that same thing. Those are really fun bars. We're big. I know we're both big Bill Bateman's guys. Gotta love Bill Bateman's. That's just a game day atmosphere type thing.
Bateman's, I have the issue with like, I need a big TV, and sometimes you can get siphoned off in Bateman's in an area with like a 34-inch TV.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like there needs to be equitable control. So B-Dubs is really good for that. B-Dubs has big TVs all over the place. So that's another good spot, but we're not supporting chains this year. We're supporting small businesses as we move forward through these uncertain times.
Don't Know is a good spot.
Don't Know is great. They're really awesome.
I'm not a big go out to, I can't remember the last time I watched a Ravens game not at someone's house. Like,
I'm the same way. Like that's why I say, like, if you're going to do Purple Patio, do it at like a shitty like game that you're like pretty confident it's going to be a win, and it's like early in the season. So like you're not, especially for like us, we kind of have to be a little more locked in. Actually, the last Purple Patio I went to was that Bengals game, and that was maybe the episode we were the drunkest for among many that year.
I was obliterated for that game.
So was I. I had been, I got absolutely ripped, and then
Patriots game, I was fucked up.
Me too. I got club seats for that game, so I was drinking like the bougie hot cocoa with the whiskey and stuff like that. That was a good ass time too. Man, that was a fun
Patriots game was nuts. Fran had work in the morning, didn't call out, and came to work, and all of her coworkers were like, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
It's always tough to be the
Monday night game into Tuesday. We got very drunk. That was she was not okay from that. But yeah, I'm not a big watch outside the house guy. I just am a absolute psychopath.
I like a controlled environment. I know what you mean. But just to answer his question,
I can't deal with variables. Like if something happens and I'm unable to watch, I will throw a bona fide hit spin. I swear to God, I think the last time I didn't watch a game at the stadium or at a house was like when I worked at a Lens Crafters in college in like 2015 or 2016. And I watched on my phone and got in trouble like 17 times from my manager, and I kept watching. It was a Jaguars game. It was the game where Elvis, whatever the game.
Oh, that was the worst fucking game.
Yes, it was the face mask. Maybe that was like 27.
That was 2015. It was the 5-11, and they lost that game at the very end because Bortles threw a pick to Kendrick Lewis that he dropped. Like it was just in his hands.
Elvis Dumerville got.
And then the very next play, like it's like, all right, like he dropped it. That's fine. You just gotta finish the game. Elvis Dumerville face masks him, and I think. Like it was
a Hail Mary.
I think it was dead, like just a dead ball kick from Jason Myers, I think. And they won that.
That was Jason Myers.
It might have been Lambeau, actually, Josh Lambeau.
Or Scobie? When did Scobie retire?
I think it was just
we need the Boober Bomb on here to get
we do. He would get the special team PF ref up. But yeah, I think that was a Lambeau game winner. That was a fucking terrible game. And like the radio call too is great because Stan White, like when they're doing it, it's like Jerry's like, okay, only one more play until the haze in the barn, and then like Dumerville just bursts through the line and grabs him by the face mask, and Stan White just goes, no! Like
Dumerville like ripped him down by his.
It was so bad. Like Stan White just lets out this like this exasperated like scream, like just in pain. It was the greatest thing. Like, I mean, it was the worst.
That was a sick loss. It was.
The
Jaguars give the Ravens so many problems over the years.
They really have. Fuck them.
They really, really have. Shout out Duval. Boss Hoss 00. Can we please get another wasted Spenny episode?
There you go.
I'm buzzing a little bit right now. I've had a couple of Stellas.
We haven't seen each other in a long time too. So this is a good vibes, and we also did just crush a great recording. So
we did. I'll get real drunk real soon.
We'll do that.
Draft? Draft? We got
yeah, that was like 4 hours too.
Jake and I think I had no joke. I think that was the most beers I think I've drank in one sitting in the last.
Because we were doing a live stream, and that was the first time we started toying with it. So we were live streaming like literally as the first round was like in the halfway through, and we just started going. It was just like, all right, well, I got a 12-pack of Sierra Nevadas. I'll just like start working my way through that.
I drank a cool, at least 12 beers.
I think you were shotgunning too, because you were still doing the shotgunning phase.
Yeah.
It
is always the shotgunning phase.
Well, yeah,
shotgunning phase doesn't end.
It was just tougher during these uncertain times, but
it was. But yeah, I remember I was in a basement and I was sloppy. Like Matt Pine came on with us.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. We'll get really, really, really drunk for the
honestly, like we could do that now, especially if we're doing the in-person ones. We could just get absolutely ripped for one of these and just have you sleep here or something. That'll be fun. It'll be fun. Do a sleepover episode.
We'll do the gang as a sleepover.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're supposed to we need to get Vaz drunk, and when Kyle's out here next time too.
We got to go to Vaz's. I've been to Vaz's house once. We got
to do an episode at Vaz's house and I need to get Vaz really drunk, because sometimes he gets frisky in the Slack chat on
he gets
Friday or Saturdays. And
he gets a finger of whiskey in him, and he starts firing off some primo position takes.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is the absolute best.
It's good.
We'll get drunk soon. Robin Hood 215. Would you rather spend picks to trade up for Pitts or break the bank for a number one wide receiver? I say Pitts.
I would say Pitts as well.
Break the bank. If they could trade this year's first and next year's first to get Kyle Pitts, I am in on that. That is something I do like. Very much so. And we'll get to the wide receiver episode. I want a lot of time to go through this wide receiver class. That'll probably be like episode 4, 5, 6 of both the Beatdown Big Board. But I have gone on a ride with Jamar Chase. I'm having a tough evaluation with him. He fits exactly the profile of what the Ravens need in terms of physicality, and the Anquan Bolden reference comparison always gets thrown around, but that Mama Jamma plays strong, and that is what they need. So if one of those two is available for a 2020 or 2021 first and a 2022 first, I'm just gonna have to start saying 21 and 22. 20, that's too many syllables. But if they can trade the next 2 first-round picks for those, I would probably, I think, be in on either of those.
Yeah, I think, man, I fucking love Chase. I know like you said, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but man, that guy is just an absolute fucking warrior.
The fact that he was doing it at 19 years old with that kind of play strength in the SEC so prolifically, and
just got the mongoloid arms. He's just like pushing people off. He's I don't know. He's a dog, man. I love him. Might be a killer.
He is a serial killer. He is a murderer. So I think I'm starting to get in on that a lot. And either one of those two, I think, would fit exactly what the Ravens lack in this offense. And at some point, you got to make the move, man. And I think you're getting in Kyle Pitts a pretty sure thing.
Gotta get the opener.
Yeah, I think you're getting a pretty sure thing. And yeah, we have discussed that. Yes, to Kyle Pitts, those 2 picks. Matthias the Great. Thoughts on Dez Fitzpatrick out of U of L? He was the top target for Lamar in 2017 as a freshman. He was a top target for Lamar in 2017 as a freshman. 2016, it was Jalen Smith, and Jalen Smith is out of the NFL and couldn't hang. So being Lamar's top target in college doesn't really have anything to do with anything. Sure, mid like a 5th round pick on Dez Fitzpatrick. I think he can play outside and inside, kind of a little slight at the line of scrimmage. He has to be a technician. I don't think he's crazy fast or anything. He's got some red zone presence to him. I would like if he was a double dip. I wouldn't hate that at all. Some people very, 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 very low on him, but I think he's got good ball skills, and I think he's kind of quick at the line of scrimmage. So sure.
Yeah, he's. I saw your boy Kevin Ostreicher was posting some videos of him on Twitter. Liked what I saw there. Don't really know anything else about him. Haven't watched him. I have watched a lot of receivers, and I have not gotten around to him.
He was all right at the Senior Bowl.
Okay,
he can release a little bit. He's a little shifty at the line of scrimmage. And he's kind of big.
6'2", 210.
I think he had a lot of drops, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's pretty spotty with some concentration drops and some uncontested drops. But yeah, size, red zone skill, a little bit of releases. He could be a wide receiver 3, I think, is his ceiling. I could see him being an okay rotational guy.
Okay.
Moving on, Githens Mazer. Rank worst free agents signed after they played for the Ravens. Players like Adalius, CJ Mosley, Paul Kruger, and others. So who else is left? Ben Grubbs has left. Michael Orr has left.
Donnell Ellerby was a big guy going to Miami
Josh
after the Super Bowl.
Bynes.
Bynes a little bit, yeah.
Bynes started for the Cardinals.
Ellerby was a big ticket signing though at middle linebacker for the Dolphins after that Super Bowl year, and man, that did not work out.
Ed Hartwell,
yeah.
Bart Scott was probably one of the best.
Ed Reed. That was supposed to.
Ed Reed was pretty bad.
That was a mega tough scene for our guy Ed, who I remember like the big ticket fanfare, and like the Texans were like Texans fans were like jacked up for it. I was like, dude, I don't know what you guys are like expecting, or like if you watched like a snap for the Ravens, like I know he had a pick in the Super Bowl.
He gave everything he had in the playoffs, but the man could not tackle anymore. He hit above his weight class for a decade and just couldn't hit anymore. He retired.
Listen, friend of the podcast, we're allowed to say this because we have this kind of relationship.
What do you think Ed would say about his time?
Ed's always talking about us, whenever we're offline on the pod. He's like, oh yeah, you guys wouldn't be good.
He's having a nice Crown Royal.
Yeah, just smoking a cigar, having a nice Crown Royal, and I think I'm going to be handing it to Martin Luther King. Who else did he say? Michael Jordan.
Who's the third?
Muhammad
Ali? No,
not Ali. Who was
Obama?
It? Yeah, Obama. Okay.
Obama.
That's a good foursome.
Good foursome. Fearsome foursome. Who else? Flacco was traded.
Flacco. That was tough, but like they drafted
Thomas
Locke.
was okay on the Patriots.
Pernell
McPhee was okay for a year, and then he got hurt. But Paul Kruger was not good.
Paul Kruger was maybe the worst, honestly.
Paul Kruger signed a pretty big contract, like $10 million a year, I think. Then
it was a lot.
He was so dominant over the second half of that Super Bowl.
He helped them win that Super Bowl.
Yes,
he was
a force to be reckoned with. So one of those guys. Let's see who else. Eric Hansen. This is a good question for you, Jake. What is your power ranking of your favorite Ravens jersey combinations? For me, while Jake thinks, I like black on black is fine. I like black jersey on white pants.
I love that too.
Very much so. I like purple pants, white jersey.
I love that.
And I think those are my top two.
Those are my top two as well.
Okay.
The black over white is like so underrated, and I think people dislike it for some reason. But like the all black is good, and like I think a lot of other fan bases really like it because they see it in prime time and you're like, oh shit, that's like Ravens Steelers like all black, like
yes.
And it's sweet, and it like Phil Mickelson wears all black on Sundays, when he's in contention because like NFL teams that wear all black get more penalties or some stupid shit. Like it feels insane. So like I just think that's kind of a funny like sort of anecdote for that. So like they get penalized more when they're wearing all black. So who knows? So I kind of like the black over white. I think it's classic. I think it works well in daylight, which the all black doesn't always. So black over white is probably my number one. And the new purple pants that they've added in are fucking torch. And that with the white jersey, I love that too.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Is Patrick Queen a Mike the majority of the time? Asked KCast91. Yeah, he is the Mike linebacker. But the thing that people don't fully hone in on is that when the formation changes, like Mike means your strong side and tight end shifts, and then suddenly he's the weak side linebacker. So your role changes based on the strength of formation, which changes a lot when teams are running motion. At least 50% of the snap or resets at least 50% of the snap. I'm pretty sure all 32 teams have some sort of shift or motion. I think the lowest was 43%, if I'm not mistaken. The Ravens are at 70, which was second behind the 49ers. Whitehead Will asks, favorite day 2 or day 3 receiving prospects? I am having troubles understanding why Amon-Ra St. Brown is not like a really good receiver. I don't know why he's not like pretty fucking good.
I mean, the quarterback situation there was not great, right?
I like Ken Slavis. He's all right. He was young. He was a freshman last year and a sophomore this year.
Okay.
I think he could end up being a first round guy.
Interesting.
But St. Brown plays in the slot, plays out wide. He had like a 95-yard touchdown where he outran people.
It felt like not a lot of deep stuff with him, which is I think where maybe people get a little bit like, okay, this guy's just running underneath, and like, is that
I like the Golden Tate comp. I'm sticking with
yeah.
that. I think, and people are gonna be like, Golden. If you're 19 years old and listening to this podcast, you probably don't think Golden Tate is that good. He was a 1,300-yard receiver in Detroit. He was incredible at Notre Dame. He was really good for the first 5-6 years of his career.
He was good with the Seahawks.
He was really good with the Seahawks. Yeah, he helped them win a Super Bowl. But he's bigger than that, and I think can play outside. People say he's not explosive enough to play outside, but I see some strength there. I think he can move all around the formation. I think he can play an X role, a Z role, or be a slot guy. Slot is probably where he's most proficient, but again, he has insane body control. He has a big catch radius. He contorts his body really well. I mean, last year was just so crazy. What was the J.K. Dobbins pick? 54?
55.
55. There were no receivers left. There were no top, like...
Denzel Mims.
Yeah, the only one was Denzel Mims. Literally, the only one was Denzel Mims. The run on
Listen,
receivers...
he might have proven the difference between a Super Bowl and what transpired. So.
Right, exactly. Have another whiskey, Boz. Have another scotch. But...
I hope he's watching it so he can see my eyebrows.
He's not watching. He'll hear it tomorrow at like 9:52 a.m.
I was taking the trash out and I heard your breakdown of the primo positions and I did not like it.
That was actually an okay Boz. But if the run that happened last year from the beginning of the second round with T. Higgins through Van Jefferson, I think, was the last receiver picked ahead of J.K. Dobbins, was absolutely insane. If that happens again, I don't know. Elijah Moore, I was
so certain they were going to take Van Jefferson too, and
it would have been fun.
Like I was certain they were going to take
Liz Frank.
Just like I was certain they were going to take Cooper Kupp, and the fucking Rams took him again. And it's just like, come on, Rams, come on, Les Snead. You already got the hair. You already got the
twang.
Yeah,
the sizzle.
Everything's working for old Les. With the idyllic life.
$1 billion owner, and he's living life out there. But Elijah Moore, I saw. So Lance Zierlein's grades, I don't love. Whatever, who cares? Everybody disagrees.
I like his write-ups a lot.
They're pretty in depth, and he does every single prospect. So that's the best.
Yeah, yeah.
The volume
it's like,
is most.
If you need to find any single player, like if there's somebody like kind of later rounds, like look up NFL.com for when you look up the player's name and Lance Zierlein will pop up, and he'll have like a player comparison too, and like he'll get.
That's
deep
what I was
with
about
those.
to get to. His player comparisons are so accurate. It is insane. But his grades don't reflect the comparisons exactly. Like he'll compare someone that he gives a career backup grade, like really good comp sometimes. And he also has comps that are from like the 90s and 2000s, and you see them. And the other thing that I hate about comps is that a lot of them, I swear to God, are skin tone based. Like if it's a guy with really dark complexion that like, and dreads, they'll get like those. Dreads are the worst.
Courtney Upshaw as like the run stuffing, like right outside linebacker with dreads.
If someone has dreads and really dark skin, then they automatically are comped to someone who has dreads and really dark skin. That one is so all the time, like happens all the time. But he has really good ones. And the one that I had for the two comps that I am embarrassed to say a little bit that I've had personally are Justin Matabuike, Aaron Donald, which I've never said out loud until now. And it's poor man's Aaron Donald, but they're undersized, crazy explosive, and I don't think he's going to be Aaron Donald. He wasn't last year. Aaron Donald was immediately dominant, but that one, style-wise, and then Elijah Moore to Antonio Brown. The way Elijah Moore looks after the catch is exactly identical to Antonio Brown. He is not the fastest guy on the field ever. He can't outrun the corners to the end zone 80 yards ever, but he just skates and has such quick change of direction after the catch. He's so tough over the middle of the field. He is undersized. He will go up and get the ball, and he understands zone defense so well. His releases are disgusting. That one I like a lot. Elijah Moore is slotted as a slot guy right now, but he is so much more laterally explosive than Devin Duvernay, who I think, is a fine football player. We don't know exactly what he is yet, but Elijah Moore to me has all of the analytics stuff that you want, the dominator, all of those sorts of things, the total points that he had from Sports Info Solutions, his EPA per play, all of those things. His catch rate, super, super high percentage. I think he had one drop on 87 catchable targets last year, and good after the catch, good against zone, good against man, faced not a ton of press, but destroyed it when he did. Undersized, slated as a slot guy. If he is somehow there at 57, 58, whatever that pick is. That's an awesome one. And then later round guy, Tylan Wallace is a professional receiver.
Yes.
He is a pro. He is really technically sound late in targets when the ball is arriving.
He has a plan, and the other guy does not always have a plan.
He is very confident in dealing with corners late. So he's already kind of used to, not having a ton of separation, but he does separate over the middle of the field on in-breaking routes. He has some pretty slight breaks and things like that. Who else we got? Cornell Powell. That's been my guy through and through.
Daz Newsome is a really fun guy too.
I have not specifically watched Daz. I've watched De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, so they're similar, I think. But Daz, I've Energizer Bunny. He's just the kind of word that jumps to my mind when watching him. Like he's just always just got the juice. He's like pretty decent routes. Pretty much just a slot guy, or at least he's going to be in the NFL. Every time he touches the ball, he does a front flip. It's like Boyle with the hurdles, but with Daz, I don't know like why or how, but like it almost looks like a bad video game animation sometimes, where like he gets near like a defender and they like get him in the hip and he somehow still does a front flip, and then he's like jumps up and he's like screaming and like doing his whole routine.
That's pretty funny.
He's excited to watch. He's a lot of fun.
He's one of the ones I have not really watched. Who else? We have Cade Johnson out of South Dakota State. He had a nice little Senior Bowl outing. Cornell Powell. I've talked about him on this podcast. That is like almost a Terry McLaurin level my guy for me. I don't have holes in his game other than the fact that it took him a long time to get playing time. What else do we have in the late rounds? Josh Palmer's a fun one out of Tennessee. Had extremely poor quarterback situations. He is a vertical threat. He's a jump ball threat. I think he's a okay professional receiver. Tyler Vaughns is a sleeper for me, which is I technically am not allowed to say sleeper because Tyler Vaughns is a 5-star recruit who played at the University of Southern California, but that man has the best ball skills I have seen. He dominates contested catches. He's quick as a route runner. He can run some double moves, but there's wasted motion still. But that man is a slam dunking superstar in terms of contested catch situations. Super, super, super late round for me.
Interesting. Tamorian Terry is someone that
he's a late round one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6'4", 209. I basically like had him as like the Bizarro Boykin. I think we've even talked about this on the show. Good comp for him
I saw from Lance Zierlein was Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. He not as much of like a technical receiver and like just like kind of the finer points. We've talked about this with the edge a little bit. The finer points, maybe not totally there, but super physical, just throws his shit around, like is not afraid to get into a guy's face and like block
physical,
like a madman.
Tall, or physical, big, and fast.
Long, like uses his arms really well, blocks really well. He's fun. He's a fun late round guy, I think. Maybe not late, but like maybe mid.
Like round 4.
Sure.
Round 4, I think, is where I would be like, yeah, that's a good place to pick him. Round 3, you can talk me into. 2 is too early.
Also a 2020 opt-out, so.
Is a 2020 opt-out too. Yeah, very fast. Also had shitty quarterback play as well. So
yeah, we've talked about that.
For sure. Whatever. We'll get into the wide receiver episode. That's good enough for now for the mailbag. Ryan J. Laurie. Top 5 sandwich joints. Also, top sandwich in general.
So I'm excited to hear your take on this as the sandwich guy.
Cheesesteak is my favorite sandwich. A sub is a submarine sandwich. So yes, subs qualify. That is my creme de la creme. Big Macs, I also love too. Top 5 sandwich joints. I like Chaps pit beef.
Yeah.
Chaps is hot fire. Outlaw Barbecue, Hampstead, Maryland. Very underrated place I would recommend if you are frisky for some brisket cheesesteak or a new sort of barbecue place to go to.
Santoni's Deli, Glendon, Maryland is my place of choice. There's maybe better spots, but Santoni's has a great vibe and a really good deli. And also like good pre-wraps too. I get a lot of their Italian cold cut type stuff there.
Anywhere in Philly, cheesesteaks wise as well.
Geno's and Pets. Oh.
I mean, people like talk smack about Geno's and Pets, but like they're good. Jim's is still pretty famous, like very famous, and that's my favorite one. That's like,
you know what I've been meaning to try is Ginger's Hot Chicken. I've not been there yet.
Shout out to Bonchon Chicken too for Asian chicken. Bonchon Chicken's good.
Yeah, that's like a chain, right?
It's a franchise. Yeah.
Okay.
Bonchon very good. They don't have sandwiches, I don't think. I'm like blanking right now. I like I like a crab cake sandwich, Greenmount Station, Hampstead, Maryland as well.
Mr. Maller with the Santoni's job. I tried to get that job so many years in a row, and they just never had room for me. And my mom was friends with Greg Santoni too. That was tough, man. That was a blow to my ego.
Gino's Burgers in Towson. That's a spot. That's a bop for sure.
Really good sandwich places. McDonald's, Wendy's.
Big Mac is on my list.
I really like supporting small businesses. So McDonald's, Five Guys, all that kind of really mom and pop type stuff.
Big Mac. I'm like blanking right now, kind of. Where else do I like?
You literally run an Instagram account for sandwiches.
I do. Anywhere in New Jersey, to be honest.
Jersey Mike's?
No. I hate Jersey Mike's. I eat it, but I like
it. I'm more of a Jimmy John's guy. If someone
insists on going there, I enjoy it every single time, but I never myself will choose to go to Jersey Mike's.
What is that one place that's kind of similar?
Potbelly?
Yeah, Potbelly. Yeah.
Potbelly's okay.
Potbelly's pretty good.
I'm like blanking out right now. Oh, French dip. I'm also huge on French dips.
Bon Fresco, if you're in the Columbia area, great little deli, kind of hidden away right by the second swing there. So go ahead and get fitted for a pair of irons and then or a set of irons, and then go get yourself some Bon Fresco's little soup and sandwich situation. Pretty good.
Where else? Oh. The best sandwich deal in Baltimore is, why can I not think of the name? I lived next to it for 2 years on the same block. Oh, good God. Oh my God. So, number one, actually, Towson, Toss. It's actually it's right on the other side of Northern Parkway from Towson in Baltimore. Toss, gourmet pizza and sandwiches.
Didn't they used to call you Toss in college?
Yeah, they call me the salad tosser. Then, Toss in Towson is outstanding before 4 p.m. sandwich that is, I swear, gourmet is like an understatement. The crispiest artisanal bread, really good.
Bread is it's such an underrated factor.
Aspect. Yes, bread is very underrated aspect of sandwiches. Fully agree there. And why am I blanking right now? I can't think of the name. Oh my God. I sang karaoke there 50 times. It's a bar and a sandwich place and a pizza place. And I can't think of the name. I'm gonna have to look it up. Keep going. Give me more sandwich spots while I look it up.
Subway, great small business type thing. Really great. Firehouse Subs, another good sandwich spot.
Home Slice. Good God, there it is. Home Slice also does $5 sandwiches. I think on Thursdays. They have a great meatball sandwich. They have so many good sandwiches. The Three Little Pigs they have with bacon, salami, and ham, and they're all fried, and it's really good.
Okay. Sounds great.
Sandwiches. There we go. Shout out Sandwich Wednesday. Follow Sandwich Wednesday. Making a comeback soon, actually. Gran H2. Why is everyone so harped on A-Rob? It was likely not going to happen. It's not the front office's style. No, it's not. It doesn't fit the value rule, like I said.
He's going to be making lots of money. You could probably get 2 starters for the price of 1 there. So, I get it. Like, I get the idea of just for the sake of wanting a guy who's going to be fun and going to be that number 1 type. I get wanting that, but realistically, probably not going to happen. And it's probably for the best that it doesn't happen, to be honest.
On the other side of the spectrum, Adam Jones 357, the 5-time Gold Glover. Man, can we just get Allen Robinson? FFS. Also, I'm a little tired of Hollywood at this point. Love the pod.
Why?
People hate Hollywood.
Why?
I don't know. I think because he had a couple of drops that were untimely. The drop in Indy after the Soldier stuff, people went insane over that.
He had a very rough stretch in the middle of the season that had to do with stuff not only going on the field, but stuff going on the field that compounded on the stuff going on off the field that then recompounded on the stuff going on the field. So he had a really tough midseason there.
Had tough drops against the Browns and then hits the game winner.
Yeah, and the way he came back from all that shit and performed really well down the stretch, he was the only consistent offensive playmaker in the playoffs, including Lamar Jackson. He played pretty well in that Bills game.
Yeah, he did. He was a threat. He was wide open all the time. He tore the Titans up twice. Actually, no, he didn't do anything to the Titans the first time.
Not the first time.
Regular season, he didn't, but in the 2 playoff games against the Titans, he performed both times. So he has been a PTPer. Shout out Dickie V.
PTP, yeah.
He has. I love Hollywood. I'm very high on Hollywood. Everyone's like, number 1, can you be number 1? Blah, blah. I'm going to be honest. Lamar needs to hit him. Lamar missed him quite a bit, and Hollywood had some drops. So there's a couple issues there, but over the course of the season,
what's a really good way to facilitate that is getting good interior offensive line play.
I agree. Getting a better pocket. will help out and make Lamar more confident so he gets the ball out on time and hits Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't have a huge catch radius. That is the only thing about Hollywood. He gets open at an extremely high rate, which makes it easier to throw to him. You don't always have to be perfect. You just need to be on target enough where it hits the man. And had a tough game against the Browns. And before that that wasn't a walk-off because then the Browns scored a touchdown after that. But that go-ahead touchdown he had after having 2 drops that game, I think. So came back and played. I just love the fire that we saw after that clip of him that was on Showtime or whatever after the Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown late in the game. The way he ran up to Trace McSorley, the fire
they
that
were
he
just
had in his
going
eyes.
nuts. Yeah, that was sick.
He's like, we've been doing this. Yeah. Like he had fire in his eyes. I love Hollywood. What we saw from him after the catch in the wild card game and in the divisional round loss, that unlocked so much for the offense and will moving forward if he is a threat after the catch and trusts his body to hold up. And he talked about how basically getting fully confident on that foot. I think he kind of overhyped it a little bit and then got onto the field and still didn't feel fully confident on that foot. But how long
was it you that was tweeting about something about how he talked about how he started going to somebody else during that stretch to help him figure his footwork out a little bit? That might have been somebody
I didn't
else.
tweet that, but that's what he said.
Okay. So I saw it on Twitter. He was talking about that.
It was a new trainer of his said that, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's almost a situation where I'm like, all right, I don't know if we need all these cooks in the kitchen. Let's maybe just kind of get back to the basics here, but it seemed to work for him. So.
It did, and he was a threat after the catch, and that was a big help against the Titans. Alex Meerman, one NFL player you guys thought would suck, but turned out to be really good.
Kind of tough to really thought would suck.
Let me look at draft classes because they've definitely happened.
I
thought Andy Isabella would suck, and
he's fine.
He's okay. LaVisca Chenault, I didn't think would suck. I think he was a little overhyped, and he was slightly better, I think, than I thought he was going to be as a rookie. Trying to think of who else.
That would suck. That's a good one.
All right.
I don't really know.
Quarterbacks wise, I thought Burrow would be good. Andrew Thomas was my number 1 tackle last year. He was not the best tackle of the first round tackles.
I thought Daniel Jones would suck. He's been okay. Or no, I actually didn't. I thought he would be fine.
I thought he'd be fine too.
He's not even really that. But
Jalen Reagor had a tough year. I expect more of him. I'm going to go. It's too early to judge those guys. Let me go 2019. Rashawn Gary, I thought would suck. I thought would not be great. He looked okay this past year. I thought Dwayne Haskins was going to be pretty damn good. That was a miss for me for sure. Who else do we got? Jonathan Abram, I was higher on. I thought he would be better. I thought N'Keal Harry was a joke to go in the first round, I'm going to be honest, and that one has definitely hit. Cody Ford has not been good. I thought he was a first-round quality player. I thought the Ravens might be taking him. He was mocked to them quite a bit. Who else do we got? I was not big on DJ Moore. I thought he was
controversial opinion around here.
I did not think he was going to be the player that he's turned out to be. I think he's the only receiver with 1,200 plus yards over the last 2 years each. Who else do we got?
I didn't think Calvin Ridley was going to be that great. He's been pretty much about what I expected.
Calvin Ridley's really good. He's torn.
Yeah, he's been better than
I thought. Rashad Penny was going to be pretty freaking good, and he started to look at a little bit, and then he got hurt. Who else?
That pick was fucking sweet. I loved when they did that.
I love when they did it with Collier too.
They just give zero shits about what anyone thinks. It's the best.
Sony Michel, I was pretty high on, and I liked him. I definitely was not great on Sony Michel. Look through here, and I don't. Who's that? I mean, Patrick Queen has not. It's only been 1 year. I thought Patrick Queen. I was ecstatic when they picked Patrick Queen, and I thought he was going to come in and immediately be an impact starter.
I thought Marlon Humphrey was going to suck.
I was frustrated at the Humphrey pick.
Maybe not suck, but I did not think he was going to be very good.
A lot of people were mad at that one. That definitely, Ravens-wise, definitely.
And that was also I watched a little bit of draft stuff, but I wasn't I more just fell back on guys that were really had an opinion. I know Miller was really low on him. I don't think DJ loved the pick in the first round that year. So I was not super high on the Humphrey
Tack
pick.
McKinley, I was kind of high on.
So were the Ravens.
Apparently. Who else do we got? I thought Charles Harris was not going to be good. That was a hit for sure. Derek Barnett actually is.
Yeah.
Derek Barnett is probably my biggest. This guy is going to be an All-Pro, and he has been a okay starter. Derek Barnett, I have friends who are Eagles fans. Jake Bowe does not listen to this pod, but shout out Jake Bowe. And I texted him after. I was like, "You just drafted an All-Pro player." Derek Barnett is a certified A1 stud. Loved his hand usage. Loved his ability against the run. He's been all right.
Sims hated him because he was fat, which I liked.
That's quite a take. I don't know why he calls him fat. John Ross was. I
wanted him so fucking
I
badly
did
that
not.
year.
That was the lowest I have been on someone who has gone that high.
I
The
wanted-
lowest I have been on a top 15 player or top 10 player is John Ross.
I thought he was going to be fucking sick.
And Mitch Trubisky, I thought that I was missing something. This is before I like really started getting into evaluation, like taking myself more seriously.
Yeah, me too.
I thought I was missing something on Deshaun Watson. I was like, how is Deshaun Watson not a top 2 pick? Like, how is Solomon Thomas?
He was. That's the weird thing is like these guys, like they start out at a certain point and then you talk yourself into for whatever reason they're not. And like with Deshaun, it was like he was a clear number 1 overall pick. And then just for whatever reason, even after like winning a natty, it was just like, oh yeah.
Hakeem Butler.
Hakeem Butler.
I liked Hakeem Butler a lot. I blame Ted Nguyen for that a lot. Ted Nguyen really talked me into
Is it Nguyen or Nugent?
I think Nguyen. I'm not sure.
I prefer Nugent because it reminds me of Ted Nugent.
Taco Charlton was one of the lowest I've ever been on a player that the Ravens were consistently linked to. He has not worked out well. Who else do we got? Jabril Peppers, I wanted the Ravens to draft really badly.
He was another
And
guy.
that was at 16. I thought the Ravens should have drafted Jabril Peppers at 16.
Again, listening to other opinions, Sims hated Jabril Peppers, so I hated Jabril Peppers.
There we go. Yeah, those are some. John Ross, I would say, is my biggest hit. That he has been nothing but injured and does nothing but run 9 routes at Washington. He does not show any nuance as a receiver, and I was ecstatic that he was picked before the Ravens could pick because he was linked to them so much. Moving on up. Shramel Alexander. Does a day 2 running back make sense? Hubbard, maybe. I'm out on Hubbard, very much so. I like a lot of running backs in this class. I like both Williams out of North Carolina is a damn alpha certified DAWG running back. And he's not my number 1. My number 1 is Najee. That would not be a mid-round pick, but there's a lot of pretty effective running backs in this class. Jake Funk out of Maryland. We could have Jake Funk on here for sure.
That'd be fun.
I know Jake decently well. Jake Funk is a one-cut zone running back. Awesome fit. Awesome fit. Crazy good footwork. Doesn't have outstanding home run speed, but he hits the right hole every single time. He's a one-cut guy. He can run through contact. Had a 200-yard game, a couple huge games for Maryland this year. Had a couple tough injuries. We'll try and get Jake Funk on sometime in the next couple weeks. But that's a running back I like a lot in the later rounds. WB Caps. Better feeling. Quitting a job you hate or breaking up with a toxic boyfriend or girlfriend. They're kind of the same thing, right?
It's got to be job. Because like I feel like with the relationship, it's kind of like you still have some of that. Like it's not a clean break. Like with a job, you can just say, I don't want to be here anymore. Fuck you. I'm gone. I feel like with a relationship, there's a lot of reverberation that goes on after the fact. And you still.
The first day waking up during a weekday and not going to a shitty job is incredible.
I've never quit a job. But I'm just speculating upon the fact that, like, if I were to be able to, like, and we both want to do this as, like, this is our passion project right now. We want to turn this into a career. I fantasize about the day that, and I like my day job decently enough, but, like, I fantasize about the day that you can just kind of say, you know what? It's not for me. I put in my time, ready to move on.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Some people are capable of being in toxic relationships, I think. So
some people just are like that.
Like it reaches a point of like, there's an impasse for me that has occurred before where it's like, once it's toxic, I can't do it like immediately. So I can't sustain a toxic relationship long enough, but I feel like I can sustain a toxic job out of necessity for a longer period of time. if that makes sense.
Yeah, but there's no emotional connection. So like it's easier to quit and it's easier to move on from quickly. So like when you quit a toxic job, it's like, hey, fuck you. It's like the George Costanza, he sticks his feet in the ice cream at like 32 flavors or wherever he was working. Or then he what does he do? He quits and then he gets like 3 months of severance and he's gonna do the summer.
I can't
of
remember
George.
what episode that is. I can remember him sticking his feet in the ice cream, but I can't remember what
It's the
episode.
summer of George, I think, when he's like
He's just a mess.
he quits Play Now and he's like, this is going to be the summer of George, and
Yep.
he gets 3 months severance. Well, he didn't actually quit. He just got fired because he
Yes.
was being a scumbag and pretending to be handicapped and like not actually.
And that is that when Art Vandelay started or before that?
That was Art Vandelay was early. That was like him pretending.
Yes, the architect
Yeah,
originally.
pretending
And
to
then
be
it was
an
always the alias after.
and then that was his alien. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Jake, please do more JLC impressions.
Yeah,
Jake,
it was-
Jake, do an impression if the Ravens draft Najee Harris in the first round. That's
Yeah,
what-
well, it's just a running back. It's really good prospect. I really know. I was talking to Mel Kiper up at Parkfizz, going to Growls, and we were talking about over little pumpkin pies. My kids were there, and we were talking about Jonathan Scopes, a scumbag, not signing the autographs. But yeah, whatever. He's a first round pick. Gonna be fine.
Heroes 931.
That was pretty
also.
good, to be honest.
That was a good one. Heroes 931. Is Ngakoue likely gone? If so, it feels like a waste of draft capital. I don't think it was, because I was so excited for the move and I thought it was definite. It was the cheapest, safest way of kind of going all in. It felt like, considering there weren't any other major trade deadline moves, and they did inquire about Thielen and things like that, but like I thought they went all in without mortgaging anything. So I like that move a lot. And Ngakoue gets absolutely shit on because he only had like 2 or 3 sacks in Baltimore. He was consistently serving a purpose to rush the edge and make quarterbacks step up, and then Wink was able to stunt around it. He had a big time forced fumble against the Titans. He also got robbed, and if you look on SIS or PFF, they count it as a forced fumble. Against the Browns, it was like Baker got intentional grounding, I think, or something of the sort, but it was actually a forced fumble by Yannick Ngakoue, and that's why Baker was like throwing a hissy fit. But it's like, Baker, why are you throwing a hissy fit? It should have been a forced fumble, but was intentional grounding. So what? Like, it was a lose-lose. Why are you throwing a hissy fit? But Ngakoue, like, it's just a classic, like, sacks are everything. Like, no, I don't know.
I think like I don't want to. I also don't want a Monday morning quarterback though, because like I remember when they signed him, it was like, this is to get sacks. This is to finish the job when Judon can't. And like he didn't do that. So to be fair, it's fine. And it's like it's okay to say that it didn't work out. It was a 3rd round pick. Like it's not a huge deal.
Getting a proven player. It was also the other aspect of Ngakoue is that DaCosta has kind of openly been trying to get Ngakoue as long as he's been GM. Ozzy had made comments about Ngakoue. Like, they wanted him. That's why it's weird that they maybe like, I don't know. It feels like his role wasn't needed enough because of how they like to blitz DBs and things like that, and simulate pressure and generate pressure from blitzes and get the ball out quickly, that it was like not a necessity to have Ngakoue, who is not a great 3-down player. He gets tackles for loss. He makes plays against the run, but he's not like a stand up, stack at the POA, like cripple one side of the line of scrimmage edge setter or anything like that. He's an okay run defender, not one of the top 20 run defending edges in the NFL. So I don't know. It is what it is. Like Jake said, it was a 3rd round pick. So
I see we got actually Engraven in the comments here, who was doing an IG live with Hollywood the other day that got picked up by
that was
Pro Football Talk. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Engraven. Doing the damn thing. Then B-Rose 931, the 3rd section of his 3-parter. Is Malik Harrison a more natural Mike than Patrick Queen? I think Malik Harrison plays through blocks, attacks blocks, and is a little bit more straightforward, more patient, but also impactful on contact. I would rather have Malik Harrison be the battering ram and Patrick Queen kept clean, who is a faster, more explosive athlete, who is like a running back playing linebacker. I think when Queen ended up being on the weak side, which was a lot of time was because of shifts and things like that, we didn't see a ton of Harrison and Queen together, but we did see a bit of it. Yes, I think that Queen is better suited being the guy who is blitzing, being the guy who is like having chase roles and man coverage and backs out of the backfield, as opposed to Harrison, who can sit in a hook and, you know, be the enforcer inside and things like that. So yes, I do believe so. The Ravens do not. the whole Mike Will thing is not like.
Am I oversimplifying it to think or compare it to like the strong safety, free safety thing where I think it's a little bit of an overrated distinction these days?
Yeah, like especially on the Ravens defense, because everybody has to play multiple roles. If you play safety, you're going to be single high sometimes. You're going to be in the box. You're going to be lined up in coverage a good bit, in man coverage a good bit. So yeah, and like we said earlier in the podcast, earlier in the mailbag, the Mike isn't always the Mike. The Mike sometimes is the Will because shifts happen. The strong side changes all the time. So yeah, Patrick Queen did mention, I think he was on the lounge with Garrett Downing and Ryan Mink, who do a great job. And he was talking about how he wanted to add size. And he talked about that in college, it's a lot of two receiver concepts, a lot of twins. And in the NFL, twins. And in the NFL, he was seeing a lot more as a strong side linebacker, seeing a lot more 3-man route combinations where he was working with the nickel and the boundary corner and mainly the nickel. And he isn't comfortable yet identifying those or understanding them based on releases and things like that. So that's something he's spending a lot of time doing to make him a little bit more competent in coverage. For me, what I saw, I mean, I don't know. We don't know the exact defensive responsibilities, but one of the things it felt like was that he just vacated his zone too often to go try to make a hero play. When you watch someone like LJ Fort, is he amazing in coverage? No, but he's consistent and he's safe in coverage, and he just did his job. And I think Patrick Queen just doing his job until he actually recognizes what is happening, the ball is actually coming out, will take him a lot further in coverage. Now he's, he's still a kid, still a young player. And as, like I love to mention, Joe Ortiz, it's like the Ravens got, a really high first-round pick this year in Patrick Queen. So last year was the ramp up, the development. We saw some good impact. And one aspect of Patrick Queen that is outstanding for sure is his blitz ability. It's a dynamic blitzer. Absolutely madman, beats guards, beats centers when they try to rotate and things like that. But that does it for the mailbag on IG. Thank you guys so much for the questions.
Hopping over to Twitter now. Let's see what we got here. Some really interesting questions. First one coming from Aramaya. Golden Tate, an option at wide receiver for the Ravens. When the news came out that he was going to be let go by the Giants, I immediately tweeted out no. Meaning I would prefer them not to sign Golden Tate. I feel like that would be a little redundant with what they want to get out of Duvernay in 2021. It feels like it would be a little bit of a hedge where it's like, oh, we're just going to go get this guy who's like kind of maybe a third-tier guy at this point, and like maybe we'll get another third-tier guy and we'll just try to keep this train rolling. Like, no, go get like at least a tier 2 guy. Like, come on.
We're talking about receivers?
Yes.
I've kind of missed that one.
Golden Tate as an option.
Nah. I heard you mention Willie Snead, so I can fill in the rest of it. It's like you're letting go of Willie Snead to sign Willie Snead.
That's good way of putting it, honestly. Mr. MF. Miles Boykin review. NFL comps / scouting reports for him coming out of college. Precedent of other receivers making huge leap from year 2 to 3 after lackluster production to begin career, which is what Ravens fans are hoping for with 2 new coaches and little money to spend a wide receiver. It's a good question.
He was saying scouting reports on Boykin?
So just like an overall review, like based
of
on
him right now?
Just over his entire career, what do we think of him up to this point and moving forward?
Well, as Jake and I have mentioned in practice, he is a certified DAWG dog, skying, making plays over the middle of the field, jump balls, mossing Marlon Humphrey and Jimmy Smith. Like we saw all of that his rookie year. He went from third team to first team in like 5 practices. He was so good in practice. In the preseason, he was balling, absolutely balling. He hasn't had a high amount of targets. He hasn't had a lot of jump balls thrown for him to go prove himself on. The only one I can really recall is RG3 against the Rams.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can recall where it was like, I'm going to go see if Boykin can go bail me out here. I think he works really well in the end zone and in the red zone.
Oh, yeah. He's great understanding of space. I think a lot of that stuff. Good red zone threat.
He's very sneaky in the red zone. He like...
For a guy that big, too. It's
very, very sneaky. I'm very, very sneaky. And safe. That's my favorite quote from that movie. The old man when he slides down the stairs. Or into the whatever. But Yeah, I think he works really well in the red zone. I haven't seen him get targets or look confident running routes with his back turned to the quarterback. He doesn't get targeted on those. He doesn't get targeted on a lot of, comebacks, out routes. It's a lot of in-breaking stuff, a lot of visioning the quarterback, crossers, digs, posts, things where he can kind of run, use his speed, and look back to the ball or look back to the quarterback and then go reel it in. I think he's a pretty refined vertical route runner. In terms of the stem of routes, I think he gets his toes in the right places and he's able to point and square himself to where he's supposed to go quite well. I think he can set up DBs at high speeds pretty well. He had that big deep ball against Seattle in his rookie year that showed kind of. I think he's a legit deep threat. They just don't dial it up and chuck the ball. And
he's talking about like comparisons for him too. Like he drew comparisons to Alshon Jeffrey and Kenny Galladay when he got drafted, and that got me really excited.
He's built like Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked out like that. And like with Miles, like he's just a really cerebral dude. Like if you look in his eyes, you can tell there's a lot going on behind those eyes. Like he thinks things through really deeply, and that's a really good thing for you on a personal level, but that can work against you, I think, as a professional sometimes, because sometimes, especially as a receiver, you kind of just got to go out and let it fucking rip and like send it and
unconscious.
I just feel like he maybe overthinks himself a little bit too much sometimes.
I agree, and maybe overthinks concepts. David Culley spoke to that in his rookie year because they started reducing his snaps, and he was like, we think he's literally thinking too much, and we want to reduce his role, let him get his feet back under him, and then reintroduce him out. And then that came to a head this year with the whole Eagles scenario that Jake and I have referenced so many times, where he ran out of the huddle, not knowing what the play was. And guess what the play was? Freaking back shoulder fade to Miles Boykin for the first time. Like that Lamar has thrown him, and he's stock blocking 5 yards down the field. Lamar throws the ball, and Miles Boykin is
nowhere. Yeah,
not even close to it. And I don't know. He just doesn't attack the ball in contested catch situations or tight windows. He doesn't come back to the ball enough and work back and be a real quarterback savior at all. When he has that long frame and things like that, and the reference that Jake and I have made, or I think it's me and you've maybe agreed with a bit, is he's like a point forward in basketball. He has all of the size, but he's actually a finesse route runner.
He's not banging low in the paint. He's
he's
spotting up. He's
yes.
doing all sorts of mid-range
like
stuff.
Dirk. He's like Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not,
him in the red zone is the turnaround jumper.
Yes, and he's very, very sneaky in the red zone. So at this point, I don't know. And Boykin talked about one very true aspect, that he's not getting a lot of targets. So when he messes up, it is not quickly forgotten. He might not see the ball again for 2 quarters or again that game.
Yeah, Garnett is in here, which, by the way, shout out to him, recovering from ACL surgery. You're our guy, buddy. I hope you're doing okay. He says 33 targets, ... 33. It's not a lot, is it?
No. So when he does make, 5-6 mistakes as a young player on 33 targets, it's amplified. And at the same time, we've seen him make some great plays. That touchdown against the Bengals on that deep post, I did a film breakdown, a full video, basically just talking about one slight setup step that he took at full speed just to get the corner to turn his hips towards the boundary, and it perfectly cut upfield at running at full speed, just the most subtle little alignment. That's a big fish dick. Big fish dick. And and
didn't mean to throw you off there.
I love that.
Just check out at RG3 on Twitter if you're looking for something to laugh at.
He's
living his best life.
Got a full fish stick. And to quote Kanye West,
shape of water.
But Boykin, I mean, the potential's there, the size is there, the speed is there, the length is there. The physicality as a run blocker, not showing up as a route runner doesn't make sense to me. Push people, push off, like get guys off of you.
Do what Jamar Chase does. Just
box out.
Say fuck it. I'm just gonna.
And it feels like Jamar Chase doesn't need to think about that. That's something you don't think about. You just do it. You just be physical. Like it's like getting a rebound in basketball. You have to just body. You have to box out and go get the damn ball. And he hasn't quite done those things, but he hasn't had the opportunity to at the same time. So I don't know, man. It's tough when the offense throws 26 passes a game and 16 of those are going to Andrews and Hollywood. A couple of them are going to running backs.
It's only one ball.
It's only one ball. And yeah, so I don't know. That's what it's going to be again. Greg Roman again. So we shall see. But bringing in Williams, bringing in Martin, maybe help him simplify things a bit. And maybe Williams is bluntly honest as a, what is he? What is his role? Pass game consultant?
Consigliere.
Capo. He's
Capo
a captain,
regime.
the captain.
Yeah.
What is it though? It's not coordinator. Specialist.
Pass game specialist.
Specialist.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So not coordinator. So I guess that relinquishes the role back onto Greg Roman that David Culley had a little bit more.
He's an interior decorator.
I don't know. I want to know. I want to know what the exact defined roles of David Culley were. I want to know what Keith Williams' roles exactly are. How much input is there into the chalkboard, into the playbook versus being communication and getting the receivers on the page that Roman wants them on. I'm
gonna tell Pete to get into Harbaugh's ass next press conference that he gets to go to, and then he's coming on the show.
Yeah, get in there
because we're not getting those press conferences.
But the thing is, Harbaugh will give a tap dancing answer about whatever it is.
Well, as Pete told me, like there are some days where you can really get something out of him. You gotta know what days to push the buttons.
When he's being real direct, he has those real. When he's got his glasses on and he's really like
he's just kind of he's got his Rogan pose going and he's just really thoughtful. Like he's just these young men. They're just really great, additions to this building. We're just really
It's a great question.
It's a great question there. And then he does the thing that really successful people do where he says the first name. He's like, yeah, Spencer, great question there, actually. Spencer, we're thinking a lot about Miles Boykin, Spencer. And, Spencer, he's just a really like talented guy, Spencer. And he's got the glasses are like all the way down like the bridge of his nose. And he's just like looking really contemplative. I love it, man.
And then he doesn't answer your question.
No, of course not. But
not even close.
He makes you feel good.
He addressed you. He looked you in the eyes and said your name.
And then it makes it even better when there are the other days where he's really surly and he's like, yeah, I just really don't feel like talking about that today. And he's just like, that's actually a really stupid question, which like it's the yin and the yang is there with him, which is great.
It is great. He's been here a long time, man.
He has.
Long time.
13 years old. I was maybe 12 actually.
Almost as old as my mom's oldest dog. Good Lord.
There you go. That's wild, man.
That is wild.
Where were we?
But that was talking Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin. John Kennedy. Hope you're recovering well from the situation in Dallas. Possibility of trades for some vet contracts.
Trades for vet contracts. Adam Thielen.
Yeah, that's probably the big one, right?
Adam Thielen has if I'm not mistaken, it's an $11 million cap hit. And that man scores freaking touchdowns.
He's good.
One of the most defined route runners in the NFL. Works really well in the red zone, creates separation, feels like he's incredibly cerebral and in tune and would be able to pick up on what the Ravens are putting down. Pardon me, it is a $13.4 million cap hit. And he is on the books through 2024. So it goes 13 million, 14 million, 15 million, 16 million. And in 2022, so after 1 year, you can cut him for a $3.6 million dead hit and get $10.8 million in cap space. So you can basically save $7 million by cutting him in 2022. So that would be a viable option. If you could get him for like a third round pick, if the Vikings are like tanking somehow, things don't go well, and you can get him for a third round pick that you don't actually have right now. But
I was going to say the Vikings and Ravens third round picks.
Give us that back and let them trade it again.
We'll give you a backup kicker.
Would you do a second round pick for Adam Thielen? Would you trade 57 for Thielen?
What else are they doing at wide receiver? Is that the only move?
That's the only move they make.
No.
Why?
Because they don't have the third round pick, and I feel like you could just sign a guy. Like you just sign Marvin Jones, right? And then you'll have your first and your second.
So you sign Jones and have the second.
And draft Creed Humphrey in the second.
Makes sense.
Second rounders can be starters in their first year.
A second rounder should be a potential starter. A first rounder is
should be
top half of the draft are impact starters. The second half of the first round are starters that should make an impact in their first couple of years. And the second round should be going from starter through heavy rotation.
And I like Thielen. I would do that for a 3rd round pick, but 2nd rounder, you're starting to get I'm getting a little antsy.
If they could trade maybe the comp pick that they're supposed to get for Cully and
Which is sick.
Get back a 6th round pick.
I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe you just use that.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
But don't think, I don't know. Who knows? The Ravens called about Thielen and Ngakoue and Irv Smith. I think that was the report that they were inquiring about the 3 of them. And they ended up walking away with Ngakoue.
Should have just drafted Irv Smith.
What? He was a 1st round pick.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Irv Smith went in the 1st round.
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I think he was like the 14th pick in what, 2019?
Irv Smith? Irv Smith. Irvin Smith.
The 2nd.
He was a 2nd round pick.
Never mind. For some reason, I thought he was 1st round pick.
Okay.
So that was what, 2 years ago?
That was 2019. Yeah, they probably couldn't have drafted him
And
because they didn't have a
have a
2nd
2nd round pick. Yeah. I like Irv Smith.
Yeah, he's good.
Rudolph gone, big time fantasy option there.
Okay.
I like talking Vikings.
I was talking. Yeah. Space Ghost. Any Brandon Williams replacements via
I
draft?
thought that was the question, the comment.
It's like some shitty like weed strain at like some hip like
There's a plug.
dispensary. Like, yeah, it's like kind of a body high, really chills you out. And like the guy's just bullshitting. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but like it sounds cool. And it's like you're just on vacation, so it's like, yeah, whatever. Not that I'm saying I have any experience in that. Space Ghost asks, any Brandon Williams replacements via draft? I think one of our picks in the first 3 rounds should be used for one. Don't think a restructure or extension makes sense. Keep him this year while grooming the replacement. Time to spend money on offense, in my opinion. Also, Gabe Jackson won't count versus the comp pick formula.
If I'm not mistaken, Tyler Shelvin opted out of this past season. I think he's kind of like the big time nose. I have gotten Christian Darrisaw in mock drafts quite a few times, and I think Christian Darrisaw gets this like really bad reputation for like hustle or effort or something. But he also played a lot of snaps. I don't know. I like or not Darrisaw, Barrymore. I like him a lot. Nose tackle wise, there's also Marvin Wilson. Aleem McNeil is awesome. Him and Bobby Brown. Those are my 2 favorites. McNeil is a little bit of a pass rusher for a big boy. Big boy. He's like 6 foot, 6'1", like 310. So
he's 6'1" and he's tons of fun. And he dresses to a T.
Yep.
And he's got more clothes
Dressed
than
in
Muhammad
yellow.
Ali.
She said hello.
And he dressed so viciously. Yeah, okay. I'm not well versed on the D line.
You'll get there, but McNeil, he pushes the pocket crazy well. Pretty explosive pass rusher at big boy size. Milton Williams is kind of a weird one. I don't think he's a nose.
He's always like complaining about a stapler or something too. It's just like a weird
stapler.
Now Milton, don't be greedy.
But yeah, Bobby Brown, I think I like a lot. I like a lot. And if you watch, I watched a lot of Madubuike tape, obviously, after the Ravens drafted him. And Bobby Brown looked better than Justin Madubuike. He looked more consistently kind of dominant. And he must have had I haven't watched him a ton yet. We'll get there when we get to the Beatdown Big Board defensive line rankings, which is a pretty thin class. But Bobby Brown looked like a bad mamma jamma quite a bit in 2019. I haven't cut on a ton of 2020 yet.
Okay. Stuart Shock, football question. What players, whether in draft or free agency, do you not want to end up at each division rival? Non-football, what Baltimore/Maryland cuisine would you recommend me trying to cook to impress the good lady?
Non-Maryland cuisine? Is that what he said?
He says Maryland. I think he's in Scott. What
Maryland cuisine should he cook?
He's in the UK, it looks like.
Okay, so he wants Maryland cuisine.
I would just say go crab cake. I don't know like what kind of crabs you guys get over there.
Don't do crabs.
Yeah, it's kind of tough over there. I don't know if you're getting good crabs in the North Sea. Like it's probably pretty fucking cold. So I don't know like if they're going to be there.
Chile. Maryland cuisine.
Pit beef maybe.
Yeah, pit beef. I would look up a little pit beef.
I've never made any of this stuff. I'm trying to make a conscious effort to get better at cooking. So maybe I'll
You could do like a chicken Chesapeake.
Yeah, that's actually really
like a creamy kind of crab thing with some less incredible crab meat, which is imperial sauce kind of. That would be something that made sense. I don't know. That's really all Maryland's got: burger cookies and crab cakes.
Which burger cookies? That's like a brand, right?
Yeah, but it's like a Maryland. Maryland thing.
Yeah, but he's talking about like what can he make?
Yeah. I don't know. That's Maryland doesn't. It's seafood, rockfish, and crab.
Cream
and
of crab soup. I mean, you could maybe jigger
Make
soup is easy to make. I found so like maybe just do a cream of crab soup.
Or Maryland crab soup, a spicy tomato broth.
Maryland crab soup, you can make a really good homemade one. I don't know about like the crab quality wise over across the pond, but here, old Mary Luke whips that up every now and again. It's pretty darn good.
See, I call it the Maryland Arnie Palmy. Take a little bit of Maryland crab, a little bit of cream of crab, combine those bad boys. It's like a little rosé sauce.
It's bad boy shit.
And Tark, shout out to Tark's Grill in Green Spring Station. I used to work there, and I would eat those two things combined. And I wouldn't tell the managers, and I wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah. That's real bad bullshit.
Bad boy.
So what players, whether in draft or free agency, do you not want to end up at each division rival?
No JJ Watt, so we're good there. No, any offensive lineman to the Bengals? No Joe Tooney to the Bengals.
No Brandon Scherf to the Bengals.
No Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley to the Steelers. Don't want that. Corey Linsley to. So let's look at the Browns. The Browns roster is still pretty intact,
and they're always trying to wheel and deal.
They are. Andrew Berry.
Old Andy Berry.
Shout out to the Bel Air boy.
He is.
What's the corner situation like in free agency? I guess safeties. There's a lot of safeties. So we don't want the Browns getting Marcus Williams or Marcus May. Or I think Anthony Harris is a free agent, or one more that I can't think of. Not Malik Hooker. There's someone more healthy than that. AJ Bouye, Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman will not come play in the AFC North. That I'll put that out there. Shout out at Richard Sherman.
You sure he's not going to go to Cincinnati so he could just go to the PFF office every day?
That's true. That is very true.
I'll tell you what, Al. Richard Sherman walking in.
3.9 GPA.
He's
at Stanford.
Late to the office today, so he did the move, which is really smart, where you stop off and get Starbucks for everyone to re-ingratiate yourself, even though you were late. It's a great move that I'd love to see, Al. He walks in here screaming about how he's the best Starbucks getter in the game, and we're going to see if he's right.
Or he'll bring Skyline chili in the morning.
Can you imagine that in the morning?
I have had it because my old roommate, when we did that cross-country road trip, no, in the morning. We ate it when we had to wait for it to open because we were supposed to leave. We had other places to be, and so he ate a bowl of Skyline chili pasta at 11 a.m., and it ruined my day. Not really, but kind of. It was not ideal.
Was this when you were like moving shit across the country when we first started the podcast and you were like recording on the side of the highway in a U-Haul?
Yes.
I was fucking sick.
Yeah. I recorded at a restaurant. I remember we recorded an episode I was recording on my cell phone at a restaurant in the middle of like southwestern Ohio where we had to drive the U-Haul on through a literal cow path. Like the road was just a cow path with dirt on it. And we drove that to get to the restaurant. Really good restaurant. Can't remember the name of it, but that's why I recorded one of the first episodes of this podcast.
There you go. We've come a long way.
We've come a long way. Who else we got? We got Brian Poole would be a nice nickel addition for the Bengals.
Shit, former Raven Brian Poole.
He is?
No, he was for that like 2 days.
Former future Raven.
Former future rumored Raven Brian.
Former future Raven. No DBs to the Browns. No offensive linemen to the Bengals.
No Mac Jones to the Steelers.
That would be such a good pick if he falls.
It's going to happen. Unless, they're going to get Sam Darnold, but if they don't.
They've got Dwayne Haskins, Dwayne the Pain.
I wonder what the strip club scene in Pittsburgh is like.
He was at his house. He doesn't need a club.
Yeah, good point. You just bring it to them. Bring it up to the fucking Erie Hills or whatever suburb that he's
still never been to Pittsburgh. That's like the only area in the mid-Atlantic-ish area I've never been.
So is Pittsburgh in the Midwest or the Mid-Atlantic or the Rust Belt?
Or
Appalachia?
Pittsburgh is perfectly not in any of those things.
Yeah. Another pod that I listen to is deep in a debate on that, and it's fired my synapses.
It's not in any of them. That's the correct answer.
Yeah. So, How about you root for a city that is in one of those things and makes
Yeah.
a decision?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
talking
that's our
Steelers.
talk about the players we don't want to go to the AFC North
That was talking shitty pity.
and Maryland cuisine. Well, speaking effective Ben R saying 25 Nuggets says effects of Ben R saying with the Steelers on a minor pay cut and what that means for us. Old John Wayne, old Fig Jam Roethlisberger, just riding in on the white horse, sun shining behind him. He's got his 6-shooter. He's ready to save the day again. No big deal. He's just
On a new contract, definitely not a pay cut.
Yeah, no, of course not. He actually didn't.
He doesn't take pay cuts.
He didn't get demoted. He didn't get demoted. He just got a positional realignment. Old Fig Jam's just going to come on back in.
Now they can draft Amari Rodgers and have him catch fucking 9 touchdowns on slants and fucking quick routes.
Talk about a spectacle. It is always a spectacle with that SOB.
Joe Flacco was drafted, won a Super Bowl, got a new contract, fizzled out, went to 2 new teams, and hasn't retired yet, but feels like that's coming. And Ben Roethlisberger is still in fucking Pittsburgh.
And he's just, it's
old man.
Man, I'm just so happy to take a pay cut.
Haven't I taught you this lesson already, old man?
So happy to just, I love the Yinzers and, renegade. Like, fuck you, man. Like, stop making it about yourself.
Steelers fans really act like the Ravens also didn't sweep them 2 years ago, and now last year.
Oh, they swept them last year. Yeah, we go back to owning the Ravens and the Browns. Like, oh yeah, it's not like the Browns just whooped you in the fucking wild card round. Come on, guys. Come on, Chase Claypool. Come on, Juju. Well,
the Steelers. I mean, there's nothing they can do. Ben won't retire,
which is sick. He's got him over a barrel. He's Fig Jam. He
basically got himself another year. Unbelievable.
How it affects the rest of the AFC North?
If he plays again next year, I'm gonna freak out. Just stop, Ben. It's
probably.
Can we move to a new phase of my life where the Steelers have a different quarterback? Like, he's been the quarterback since I was what? When was he drafted? 03?
05.
04, because it was the Manning Rivers. He has been their quarterback since I was 11 years old. Can you fucking give it up already? I'm ready for a new era of Pittsburgh Steelers football, a new era of hatred. Give it up, Benjamin. Yeah, I went there.
Ravens burner. Which city would you least like to be living in during their championship run for any sport besides AFC North football?
Oh, I was giving myself a double chin. I was like, Pittsburgh.
For me, this is I went a little outside the box. The Padres are making a big run right now. Like they're signing a lot of guys. They're going for it. I would not want to live in San Diego during a championship run.
Why?
Because I'm trying to go to fucking La Jolla and hit swells and hit jumps and play golf with the Callaway guys and have a nice life in San Diego. I don't want to spend my summer in a baseball stadium. As much as fun as it would be, it's there's better stuff to do out there.
Yeah.
It's a little outside the box, but if you think about it, if you're in Buffalo, what are you gonna do other than just watch the Bills? Do they have
yes,
good skiing? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you can do that. Unless it's freezing, which it probably is half the winter anyway.
I mean, Kansas City's got to be miserable right now.
Yeah, it gets really cold there.
That I'm just saying. Plus, Kansas City after a Super Bowl, if they were to, if a job offered me $1.6 million, there's a 100% chance I'm taking a job, and it has to be in Kansas City, and I have to fucking sit there in a not that big city that is pretty concentrated ish.
It's supposed to be. It's really nice in the summer.
I've been there in the summer. It's all right. It's pretty nice.
Okay.
But if I have to go through a winter in Kansas City with freaking Patrick Mahomes, I can't imagine what Kansas City is like on the Patrick Mahomes train. Can't imagine where his face is, and I can't imagine where it isn't because it's probably everywhere. Him and Travis Kelce.
Well, I think we say that from a position of hatred.
Yes,
I think they probably like it.
Yes. Yes, very much so. That's what I'm saying. For me, it would not be.
Oh,
terrible.
so he's saying as a Ravens fan,
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then
I was like, you picked San Diego. I would love that.
I thought he meant as a fan of that team. Okay.
Oh.
During their okay. Yeah. No, Pittsburgh would be fucking terrible. But
outside the AFC North.
Outside AFC North. Boston would be terrible, but they kind of got to a point where they were mailing it in because they were just going every year.
Yeah. I actually like Boston sports fans too.
Yeah, they like the whole like snobbery thing kind of jumped the shark a little bit. They at a certain point they started to realize how
They also like fear
preposterous
the Ravens.
a little bit, yeah. At a certain point they started to realize how preposterous it was. So good for them, I guess. Yeah, that's not too many hateable NFL cities, to be honest.
And that was talking NFL cities.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Mr.
I would love to live in Denver for a Broncos Super Bowl. That would be fun.
This one's for John. Yeah, I really like to thank myself for winning this one. Fuck that guy. Rusty, is Corey Linsley your free agency crush? If not, who is? And what do you want to pay them?
I like Corey Linsley because I think it's the cheapest way of making a drastic improvement to the offense. So if they could only sign one kind of big ticket free agent, meaning like a top 3 guy at their position in free agency, for me it'd be Corey Linsley. The other options are like David Andrews and Alex Mack. I just want the center position to not have to be thought about for another 3 years. Like I'm sick of thinking about center.
It's just that one position that you don't want to be thinking about.
Like it was Ryan Jensen, and then it was like, all right, well, what are they going to do now? And it's like, all right, we got this Skura guy coming in, and he played guard last year. He's undrafted, and then he tears his ACL after he's okay. And then now it's like Makari and then Skura and then blah, 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 blah. Like I just want just get somebody in there and end that. I'm sick of the shuffle. I'm sick of the question marks. And Jensen started there 1 year? Pretty sure he started 4th year and then got the big contract in Tampa Bay. So who was before that? Jason Brown?
No, it was
Zuta, and then Jason Brown, and then Matt Burke.
It was Matt Burke was 1, and then they had Gradkowski the year after he retired, and then Zuta was the guy that came in.
What was Jason Brown?
Jason Brown I think he's pre all those guys, to be honest.
Really?
Jason Brown.
We'll look it up. Go to the next question. Or no, for you. Well, for you, who's?
No, it's Linsley.
Okay,
like it's the same. Linsley and Marvin Jones would be my 1-2 punch, or Sammy Watkins is another guy that I think people are sleeping on a little bit. Speaking of free agency, here's a take. Our boy Wookie Nookie says that boy at JuiceCheck44 is a free agent. I want him back.
Yeah,
they got a better version of him right now.
Oh, the Ravens drafted Jason Brown. Wow. Okay. So yeah, he was the last before Burke. Wow, good.
Yeah,
call.
he was a while ago. Then
good
Burke,
job. You just nailed your Ravens center lineage.
Yeah, Burke was there for 2 years, I think, coming over from the Vikings. And then after him, he retired after 2012. Gino Gradkowski. A lot of fanfare going into 2013. He was fucking terrible, and part of the reason why that offensive line was bad in general, so they couldn't run the ball. They brought in Zuta.
AQ Shipley.
AQ Shipley was there, but he was kind of playing guard that year.
Right.
They brought in Zuta in 2014. He was pretty much the starter for a couple of years, and he was pretty good in 2014, and then he fell off, obviously.
No. He was the worst player to ever make a Pro Bowl, in my opinion.
I wasn't grinding tape. I just remember like people saying like this guy's like a fine starting caliber center. He's much better than Gino.
He's a revolving door.
Okay. Then after him, I think it was Jensen. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, Kyle Juszczyk.
There's only been one center to start more than 1 year since Burke.
I think so.
And Skura had 1.5 years.
Yeah, I think so.
And Gradkowski had 1 year.
Yeah, that was not a good year.
Zuta had 2.
Yeah, Zuta was,
so we've had 2 years of Zuta. So this entire decade basically has been 2 years of Zuta and 1 year of everyone else.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door.
A revolving door of revolving doors.
That's what you tune into this podcast for. Folks.
There we go. Fix the center position. It's a good center draft too, which could drive the price of Linsley down. But like I've said, the only center in the last 3 years that I've seen play at a high level as a rookie is Eric McCoy. He was a first-round pick, and he was way better than anyone in this draft, except for maybe Landon Dickerson, who has had 2 torn ACLs and a broken ankle.
Make it happen. Yeah, Juszczyk, it's not happening, buddy. Sorry.
I already have a fullback. Get Recksteiner back in here.
Yes. Jordan, which veteran wide receiver do you think is the most likely to be the Macklin Crabtree 1 year guy? I've had very powerful AJ Green vibes this whole offseason.
T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah, he would be. That's a good pick, actually.
Because he has more left in his tank, it feels like, than AJ Green. AJ Green was really weirdly bad last year. I guess it's just the Achilles injury, just whatever. He also had the lowest percentage of accurate targets, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken.
kind of a moody guy too. Like a little, like he just doesn't. It feels like he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Because he's been in Cincy for a decade.
Yeah,
And they went to the playoffs 5 years for the first time ever, and he gets nothing out of it. Has Andy Dalton be his best quarterback, and then gets a rookie, and then no offensive line. Like, whew, it was bad.
Yeah, it's tough.
Underrated thing was how bad Joe Burrow was throwing deep this past year too. Missed AJ Green so many times.
Okay. Hustle Westbrook with the last one here. Tooney, Sheriff, or spend the big money elsewhere. Probably Tooney of those three options.
I don't want to say. I want to say. Actually, I do want to say that Sheriff has injury problems, but he comes back and plays at a high level. How many games does he miss? I think he missed It might have been only been 1 year that he missed significant time, and I don't know why Washington would let him go. So he played 16 games, 14, 8, 11, and 13. So he has missed 8 and 5, so 13, and then another 3. So 16. He's missed a full season over the last 3 seasons. So he's played about 2/3 of this possible snaps. So give me Tooney.
Yeah, that would be my answer. That is all we had for Twitter. Take a look through the comments here. They got a lot over a long recording.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Garnett says, hey, Andrew Sakara says, what's up, Jake and Spenny? Couple comments on the volume there. Great job by me.
Hope your ACL injury and recovery and surgery went well and go well.
Yeah, I've been there. It's not fun. So I very much agree.
So you're wearing the toe shoes too. You sicko.
I think that's just a hospital thing, right?
Toe shoe? No, he had a sock on one foot, but then he had the toe shoes because he's a workout freak, I think.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
Listen, let's let him confirm that.
Confirm it. Confirm or deny, Garnet.
Cody says YTB. What does that stand for again?
Can't remember.
Yeah, the boys, maybe.
Something like that.
Hell yeah, Breath of the Wild. Yeah, man, I love that fucking game. I'm so smitten with it. Cassidy says, shout out Seville. I think he means Catonsville, where I got my Nintendo Switch.
You're the best. You've been trolled. YTB. I don't know. Yeah, the boys.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah. I think he might be straying, so that might be what it is. We went 14-2 with Seth Roberts. Good point.
That's my favorite YouTube comment there's ever been.
Rudy B. Moore went on a tear saying all our Ravens need is tall as well as better pass catchers than Hollywood and Andrews. Facts. Then he also talks about how Hollywood and Andrews are good pass catchers. So he went on a tear tonight. So shout out to him.
They don't have to be tall. They just have to be insanely reliable over the middle of the field.
Cody Whiteboy, outside of a few drops, Crabtree was actually fairly good in Baltimore. Brian Helmkamp, Pitts, hands down, talking about Kyle Pitts. Maller, a guy I'm starting to like, is Nico Collins, big body that would benefit.
He slam dunks, man.
New wide receiver.
He
coach.
is the jump ball guy.
I have to watch him.
He's a tree, and he sat out this year. He's huge. He had a weird Senior Bowl. He's not a route runner, but he's fast and he's big.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard the name a million times at this point. I need to check him out.
He's a solid. Like if they took him in the second round, I could see why.
Okay. Good name.
Yeah, great name.
Andrew Sakara says Brandon Scherf thought he was a bust taken high, but he's been pretty good. Mike Williams has not been as good as I thought he would be. So those are a couple of his draft guys that he maybe missed on.
Mike Williams has just missed time.
Yeah.
He's pretty injury prone.
Cameron is sad, which is a sick Periscope name. That Frank Sabatka flyer is hard. It is indeed.
So hard.
So hard. Ingraven is excited for Malik Harrison.
I'm pumped to watch what he does over his rookie contract.
Yeah, he's exciting. William Bounds, our boy Billy Bounds from the Dock, says, Bailey from Dundalk, where are you, you coward? These guys are always just chirping at each other. I'm missing Bailey tonight. I'm not seeing his comments. Ingraven, that Boykin touchdown against the Bengals. Beautiful. Garnett says we only threw the ball 224 times to receivers this year. Hollywood got 100. Think about what I just said. That's when you put it like that. I got to be honest. That's wild, man. Gruden voice.
So his target share among receivers was massive.
Yeah. That's something. Dominic,
37%.
if we lose Unique and Judon, would you then double dip with Aziz and Basham back to back?
If I could pair, we'll get into the edge rushers episode that'll come out on Tuesday, but if I could pair a perfect Rush and Sam, it would be Kwity Paye and Aziz Ojulari, which would be all name team.
Yeah.
They both also, oh my God, we didn't talk about this in the edge episode. I'm so glad I remembered on this episode though. They both do Wakanda Forever every sack. Both of them. Kwity Paye's is like very passionate. He's like grabs himself really tight. And Aziz Ojulari does like, yeah. And so they are both made of vibranium. I talked about both of them and how strong they are, pound for pound, things like that. They would be the vibranium boys. They would be the Black Panthers. They would be everything you want. That would be a sick duo. Sick duo. Paye, you don't want him dropping in coverage much. Ojulari, he can kind of do that a little bit. They would give you a good yin and a yang with a speed rusher versus a power guy who has some speed too. Both of those would be so nasty. If that was possible, that would be incredible.
I tried to watch the Avengers this past weekend. I just couldn't do it, man. I can't do it. I don't know. I don't
like them?
No, it's not that I don't. It's just not my thing. You know, like I get
superhero movies.
They're
not my thing either.
I get why people like them.
I think I've watched all of the Avengers. I've tried to watch Age of Ultron like 15 times, I think.
I have been watching WandaVision, which is pretty good.
WandaVision's really good.
And they reference that movie a million times in it.
I can't pay attention to it. I don't know what it is, but like I zone out to that one.
So that's why I try to
watch the last two Avengers. Those are good and will keep your attention.
I tried to start with the first movie because there's only 4. It's like you can easily just kind of.
The first 2 are like whatever. You just need to know that there's Infinity Stones that Thanos wants them, and then watch the last 2, and you're good. There's gonna be people who probably love Marvel that listen to that are gonna like burn their own house down.
I've already put it on Twitter that I just don't give a shit, and it was. There are a lot of Marvel-loving people among the Ravens fan base, and I was roundly told to check them out. So I tried. You know, maybe I'll come back to it at some point. I like WandaVision.
I haven't watched all of them. You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
Wow, you would love that.
Yeah, no, that's my vibe. I like the soundtrack.
Thor.
It seems really good.
I hate Thor Ragnarok, but I like the first 2 Thors. Iron Man's not really my thing. I didn't watch Ant-Man's stupid.
Is that the one with Paul Rudd?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
a
pretty
Rudd.
small guy.
Just a normal guy.
I turned into a microscopic little guy.
Yeah, just shrunk down here, and I'm just smoking a J.
This is 40.
Smoking a J with Jason Segel out here on the beach as a stoner.
This is 40.
This is 40, man. Hey,
I'm married, but I hate it.
Mike, yeah, I'm Paul Rudd. Yeah, what's going on?
This is his face.
Yeah, just always kind of, he's considering things, he's Paul Rudd. Engraven says, haha, yeah, all the Avengers and Marvel movies weren't my thing, but then I watched most of the movies in order. It may be a bigger fan of them all, except Captain America, Ant-Man, and Guardians. Okay, I'll keep all that in mind. I will try. I will give them a shot. I like WandaVision.
You'll immediately love Guardians of the Galaxy. You'll watch the entire thing and like it.
I like the raccoon with that. Bradley Cooper.
I think his name's Rocket, and he's Bradley Cooper. Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah. Chris Pratt.
Very music oriented. So
the soundtrack. I have actually listened to some of that. I know there's
been 2 or 3 songs on there that I've heard on the radio and like on Sirius XM and stuff nonstop.
I know they have "Hooked on a Feeling," which is also popularized by Reservoir Dogs. One of my favorite needle drops in Reservoir Dogs with the Hooga Chaka. I like that. Okay, bud, that about wraps it up. We are 2 hours in. Doesn't feel like 2 hours.
This episode is 2 hours. So we just did 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Talking Ravens.
It was.
That was Talking Mailbag, Talking Questions, Talking Listener Questions. We did Talking Edge Rushers. That bad boy is going to be out on Tuesday. We'll be having you guys vote the following Monday on Edge Rushers. So we'll give you guys time to watch them. And so that will be the 15th. You'll be voting on Edge Rushers. And then the following weeks and 2 weeks from now, you're going to be doing tight ends and voting on tight ends on the 22nd. And then after that, we're going to do offensive linemen with Cole Jackson. Then maybe we'll do the receivers. I want some more time on the receivers because I really want to nail the receivers.
Yeah, and that's been a big area of focus for me too. So I think we're going to be coming in at a really sort of good place when we do the receivers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you stay tuned in for that. Stay tuned in for everything else. This is a really fun format. Getting together on a Thursday night, a couple beers, a couple hours recording, just talking some ball, man. It was a lot of fun. So
The ball is the team.
The ball is the team. Shout out to Anthony Ronaldo, who we got to get back on here.
We'll get him on soon. Talk boys Latin football. Talk Maryland high school football. Try and we'll get some fun interviews cooking. We haven't. You had John Feinstein, and we'll get some of the usual.
We had a good run of interviews there for a while, so we
There
will
was a
be getting
lot.
back into it. I've been talking to Connor, like I said, he'll be hopping on with us at some point this month.
Sweet.
So it's going to be good. Yeah, man, we're set up well, and this is a good little format that I think we're going to be riding through the off season here. Help us with time management a little bit as far as just recording one night out of the week, and the content's not going to suffer for it at all. So it's going to be fun.
Boom.
Absolutely. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate you all listening, interacting with the show. It's going to be getting even more interactive as we go forward here. So to do so, interact with all that. Make sure you follow us on social media. The show's Twitter account is at Podcast Beatdown. You can find me at Jake Luke. That is LOUQUE. Spencer is at Ravens 4 Dummies. That's the number 4 in the middle there. Follow the main account at Be More Beatdown, and follow us on Instagram at Baltimore_Beatdown, where, like I said, we're going to be posting all the polls and whatnot for our Beatdown Big Board series that is going to be starting, like we said, again on Tuesday. Look out for that on RSS feeds and YouTube. Going to be really, really fun. So thank you guys for tuning in for this episode, and we will talk to you again on Tuesday with that one, and back here next week, probably on Thursday with a mailbag pod. So until then, you guys have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka. Ooga, ooga.
Arrivederci.